broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Boom! What's up, everybody? AfterBuzz TV 30 for 30. Kings Ransom. Here we are. I am joined today by Kevin John.
What's up, Ben?
How you doing, Kevin?
I am great. I am great to be alongside Steph Z.
Hey guys, Ben had a birthday since last time.
Yeah, it was a great birthday.
It was.
It was really fun. I was wearing this very same suit, actually.
I think that's what reminded me.
At the party, yeah.
I wasn't there, but in spirit I was.
So my name is Ben Bateman, and this is the AfterBuzz TV 30 for 30 after show. Today we are doing one called Kings Ransom. It is the story of the Wayne Gretzky trade from the Edmonton Oilers to the Los Angeles Kings in the late 80s. It is a fascinating story. Before we get into it, I want to tell you guys quickly about Podcast One. So Podcast One, we love hearing from you guys, and it really helps us do the show the best possible way we can. And your tweets, your feedback, it is much appreciated. So please go to podcastone.com, take a quick 3-minute survey. It probably takes even a little less than 3 minutes. It'll help us do a better job with the show. It'll help us keep putting out the best content we possibly can. It'll take just a minute of your time, so please go to podcastone.com. That's podcastone.com, and keep those tweets coming. Guys, what did you think about the episode?
You know, I think it just kind of shows in sports that behind sports is a business. And I think it just shows how powerful the business, the money-generating machine is that really dictates a lot of things in sports. For example, where people get traded to.
Certainly, yeah. I definitely think it's the question always comes up in, with the 4 major American sports, and you hear about it in soccer as well, obviously, because internationally soccer is such a huge moneymaker. Mm-hmm. Small market versus big market. Right. And in today's media world, small market versus, it doesn't mean as much as it used to be, because a star player can be successful anywhere. Social media and branding means that Kevin Durant can be a superstar in Oklahoma City. He don't need to play in New York anymore. Mm-hmm. But in this case, back in those days, playing for Edmonton, they just happened to be lucky to get the great one. They just happened to have Wayne Gretzky. Right. It was inevitable in those days that he would end up with a team like the Kings. I mean, he just would end up in a major market, I think.
I kind of agree with you. And honestly, I know every show I'm kind of like, this is the best show ever. This one was not a sleeper for me, but a little bit less exciting.
I love this one.
Really?
Well, I'll tell you the reason I love this one.
Okay, tell me.
So my thing is this. There's in the 4 major American sports, there's only 2 people that are unequivocally the greatest of all time in their sports. There's Michael Jordan, there's Wayne Gretzky. That's it. In baseball, it becomes an argument of position. It becomes the greatest in his era of Babe Ruth, or the most recent greatest, Derek Jeter. You can make these arguments, but it's not like unequivocally he was the best ever. It's the same thing with football, where it's like Joe Montana has been sort of the staple for a long time, but you can make arguments for Jim Brown, or you can make arguments for Johnny Unitas, or
According to Elias Sports Bureau, technically they said, and this is true.
Oh, here we go with
Jerry
the
Rice.
Niners.
No, honestly, it has nothing to do with the Niners.
It does.
They said that
arguably
by acclamation, Jerry Rice would be the greatest football player of all time.
What I'm saying is, it is much less universally.
It's debatable. Yeah.
Yes.
And because it's also about a household name. Wayne Gretzky is a household name.
He's the guy.
Michael Jordan is a household name.
The guy.
I don't think that Joe Montana is not a household name. Jerry Rice is not a household name.
Maybe.
I'm talking you go to a 45-year-old woman who's been around when they were playing.
She lives in the Netherlands.
They won't know.
Or in China.
No, but they wouldn't know. They wouldn't know the name.
They know Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky.
Right, but they might not know Joe Montana or Jerry. They wouldn't know that Jerry Rice was a 49er. They wouldn't.
Well, they wouldn't know that Gretzky played for the Oilers or the
That
Kings.
is true.
They would know hockey. They wouldn't know. They might not know the sport. Like Wayne Gretzky, you know hockey. Michael Jordan, you know basketball. I'm just
time out.
defending
So,
that exists.
I hear you. So if we actually throw in the other sport to that, soccer, then someone else universally known would be Pele. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I think you could throw Pele in the argument as well.
As the greatest of all time?
Absolutely.
But what is the greatest of all time? Then we go into the conversation of
That's long. But I think you could put Pele up there with Jordan and Gretzky as far as what they mean to their sport.
Maybe. I'm not going to act like I know enough about soccer to really make that argument. I know the name. I know the name Pele. I know what he looks like. I recognize him from the Subway commercials.
Everybody knows he does like a windmill kick and kicks it over his head.
So
quite descriptive.
Yeah, he's still in media. So my thing is if you walk into a bar and there's 40 sports fans watching TV, watching SportsCenter, and you ask them who's the greatest basketball player of all time, 39 of those guys are going to say Michael Jordan.
Well,
One
if
idiot's
you're in
going
LA,
to say,
a few more will say Kobe.
sure,
Very true.
But you know what I'm saying? That's what's going to
If you're
happen.
in Cleveland, they
It's the same
say
with Gretzky.
LeBron.
So my thing is this: one of those two guys got traded. He actually got traded at 27 years old. In his physical prime, he was traded. That is insanity. That's why this was interesting to me. Not for any other reason, not for a hockey reason. I don't even really particularly pay attention to hockey. That on its own was the thing that blew my mind about this one.
Yeah.
There was actually some deal that was good enough to get the best player of all time in a sport away from a team.
Well, that just goes to show the power and influence of Buss. And Jerry Buss, obviously, who is, notable for what he did with the Lakers and Showtime era, that just truly showed his influence in the sport and how he was able to acquire guys that he truly wanted, whether it's putting up $15 million or whatever it was that he wanted to do. And I think that is kind of beneath all of this, it's truly just the power of the Buss.
Sure. Do you guys think that he should have left?
Well, I don't.
Yes, because it's a business.
Sure, okay.
This is my thing.
In that sense, but in the same sense, I don't know. I feel like it would be a very interesting situation if players didn't leave. If you were on a team for your contract was you were on a team for 10, 15 years. Like you were just a Oiler.
Sure.
That would be a very interesting thing if imagine there was no trades.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there was no opportunity. I mean, because he said to them, they were like, we want to renegotiate your contract. And he was like, I want to play out the last year of my deal. So I can't do that. And so they're like, okay, well, if you're not gonna renegotiate the contract, then we have to trade you because you could walk at the end of this.
Ultimately,
right?
what happened was, I look at this about what happened 5 years ago with LeBron James. With Cleveland, and which is another player who left the team in the prime of his career. What Cleveland did was basically they held on to the hope that LeBron was going to re-sign. So they didn't try to trade him. Had they known they would have got burned the way they did when LeBron just up and left, I guarantee you the Gretzky situation would have been the same with the LeBron situation. So why am I saying that? To say that at the end of the day, the Oilers had to look out for themselves. And if they knew, or if they even had a shadow of a doubt, that Gretzky was not going to sign with them, yeah, I'm not shocked that they traded him because they have to look out for their franchise. They're a small market team, and with a player of that magnitude, you can get a lot for it. So if they waited to the end and then Gretzky decided to walk, then they would have been screwed. So I don't knock them at all.
They won another championship, another Stanley Cup in 1990, right?
Yeah,
without
just
him.
like a year or 2 years after.
The trade in
that.
'88. Trade was 88, right?
88, yeah.
So, yeah.
That's pretty fascinating as well. And granted, they got $15 million, they got a handful of draft picks, and they got like a couple players.
I mean, if you take emotion out of it, that was a really smart move by the Oilers.
Absolutely.
They got rid of a player who, like, in retrospect, they got rid of a player who wasn't going to lead a team to another Stanley Cup, the greatest player or not. They got a new team that was able to win it. So they kept perpetuating and getting more funds to continue.
I don't know about not going to lead them to another Stanley Cup.
He didn't. That's what I'm like. And nowadays, we know that didn't happen.
Well, he didn't lead the Kings.
He
to a Stanley
didn't
Cup.
lead the Kings, yeah.
He was on a really bad team, but that was a great team.
But so was the Oilers when he got there. They had lost 20.
But they won 4 straight.
21
I think they
games.
won 4 out of 5 championships his last 5 years there. And actually, they
They didn't get the cup.
You're saying afterward. You're saying
And with
saying-
the Kings.
Oh, with the Kings.
Oh,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the Kings,
Yeah.
with the Kings, they didn't win. But I'm talking about with the Oilers. You said had he stayed there, they wouldn't have. You said something
No,
like.
I'm saying if he would have stayed with the Oilers, they would have probably won more cups.
Right. Oh, yeah,
He did that
absolutely.
too. I'm saying
Absolutely.
the Oilers had a smart trade because he left. He didn't go. Gretzky left, went to the Kings, didn't win any cups for the Kings. The Oilers, within that time frame, got themselves enough players and smarts enough to win another cup.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
So I still look at the Oilers as the winners out
That's
of this.
exactly
out of
what
this
I
thing.
said.
Yeah.
When
They
you
are the
look
winners.
at it in retrospect, in business world, they made the right business decision.
Absolutely. No,
How'd you guys feel about? Sorry to cut you off. Because we don't have a great deal of time. I wanted to make sure we move this along.
Ben, you're doing great.
Yeah. How did you?
You're doing great, dude.
Before I keep going, Kevin, do you want to talk to us about Mazda for a minute? Would you like to?
You know what? I'd love to talk to you about Mazda. Thank you
you.
so much for asking up. Now, does driving matter to you? Because there's over 4 million miles of road in the U.S. to find out. That's a lot of ground to cover. A lot of highways, freeways, wrong ways, long ways. They're all there waiting to be driven on. So do you take that left turn at Albuquerque or just keep going? Do you wake up early Sunday morning for a drive before the traffic does? Or do you take the long, windy road home for a change? If driving matters to you, just get out and drive. Why? Because driving matters. Mazda.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you. I love driving.
Yeah, me too. I love to
too.
drive also.
Yeah.
So let's continue
Who
with
needs
the
an Uber?
with the episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I lost my train of thought. I was so distracted by Mazda.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Can I say this real quick while you
Yeah.
regather your thought? Was it just me, or during that press conference, did it seem like he was trying to it seemed like he was trying to be overly emotional, or like I just didn't buy it.
Some people said that.
I did not buy it because he was sitting there looking like he honestly was sitting there for like 30 to 40 seconds, like saying, "Cry, cry, Wayne, cry." Like he was just sitting there, and it really just looked disingenuous, and it didn't really look
I don't
like.
buy it. I think it was genuine.
I didn't buy it.
I was totally moved by it.
I was moved too.
I was totally.
Kevin John just has no heart.
I was totally watching, and I was thinking to myself, like, I've all like.
It might have been more guilt than sad,
Sure,
but he
sure,
was
sure.
feeling something. That wasn't like formulated tears. He didn't like put eye drop in his eyes beforehand and be like, "Come on, tears, tears, tears."
Yeah, he was feeling the abandonment of a team.
Still, that's an emotion.
I'll tell you something. So I'm not somebody who cries very often. I mean, I'm open to it. It just doesn't happen very often. So when it does happen to me, it's very unexpected, and it does kind of catch you by surprise, which is what I saw in his face there.
Right.
The only times that I can think of in my life that something like that has happened, where it's just kind of like it just hits you out of nowhere. It's really, and because he's not just choking back a tear or two in that press conference. He's trying to keep it together, and then he just loses it, and he's bawling on that seat when he walks away.
Yeah, and you can't fake that. You can't not fake not being able to
Well,
speak.
after he sat there for a minute to get into character, eventually it came out that's method acting. He was reading Stanislavski before this.
Oh,
He was.
I think that it was.
Kevin, I'm actually disappointed in you.
Yeah, this is
I
like,
love you
would
too.
think that.
I
No,
think
seriously, when you look at it, like we've seen a lot of press conferences, especially when athletes retire and they're crying, Jordan, all these greats. And I've never seen someone stand at a podium literally for like 50 seconds, not say anything, and literally look like they're trying to force tears. Most of the time they try to fight back tears. He looked like he was trying to force them.
No, it's like getting divorced. It's like having a press conference about your divorce with your wife who you had like 4 kids with, and the whole time you were together and you were married, it was just success. Just beautiful children, beautiful success. That's what it's like. And it's like you guys publicly are getting divorced, and now you have to sit there and you have to look at your kids.
Well, first of all, why would you be divorcing if it was such a success?
That's exactly because business in this case. He's sitting there and he's looking at his kids and he's having to explain to them that it was wonderful while he was there, but this is a decision they have to make. That's what was going on, and that was why I bought it.
That's why Gretzky moved to LA, because he wanted to do acting, and he proved that in that conference there. I was like, give the boy an Oscar.
Kevin, you are crazy.
You're nuts.
Oh my
Someone has to be the
goodness.
realist on this panel.
I mean, it's not you.
Yeah, apparently not.
No.
So Peter Berg was the director on this one. Now Pete Berg's a big sports guy. He's involved in a ton of different stuff. He's behind the whole Friday Night Lights TV show and film franchise, the television franchise, and the movie as well. He's been involved in a ton of different sports projects. Just a big sports fan. I really like his direction a lot. I really liked the style of this, where it would show like the same questions being asked to all the various people,
Right.
and then like the question being asked to like Peter Pocklington, and then like Gretzky answering it,
Yeah.
or like Peter Berg asking the question, Gretzky saying something, and then Bruce McNall saying like something completely different. I like that style a lot. I
Yeah.
found it to be pretty engaging. What do you guys think?
I think the same. It kept me engaged because there was a lot of this story. You know what it was for me about this one? A lot of this story I had, and I'm not a know-it-all by any means, but I really do like hockey. So a lot of this story kind of you knew somewhat of it. So
Right.
most of the other 30 for 30s that we've covered, there was a big discovery for me like, oh, really? Or I didn't remember it that way. So I think the way that they did the interviewing, the style of interview, cutting that together and editing was brilliant. That's what kept it interesting.
It's an interesting parallel, the time frame too in Los Angeles, the Forum Club and everything. It's
Right.
the end of the Showtime Lakers is right when he gets traded. It's just right when that era in LA is ending. It's a couple years before Magic's the HIV announcement. It's right after like the 5th championship, I think, or that year that he got traded.
91, I think it was, when he made his or 90 when he made
Magic
his
you're talking
announcement.
about? Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
the last Lakers championship was 89,
Yeah.
right?
No, because remember the Pistons run in 88 and 89. That was the Bad Boys era.
So it was 80.
So 87
no,
made
no,
it.
no. The Pistons were 89-90.
At 89-90.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so maybe it was
88.
Yeah, okay.
They lost
88.
the Pistons in 89.
That's right.
They beat the Pistons in 88. So,
Correct.
yeah, he got traded the year of the final championship. That's pretty interesting when you consider that, like, that was like the height of Showtime Lakers.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you bring a new superstar, a new face to Los Angeles, and like it says in the thing, everybody was going nuts and wanting to watch Wayne Gretzky. It's pretty unique. I mean, you think about it would be like us getting LeBron James on the Lakers right now. I mean, it would be serious. It would be like instead of going to Cleveland, he had just come to the Lakers. He just left Miami.
Exactly. Well, I'd never say never. He lost last night, so who knows what he's doing next. But at any rate, I think that, in regards to this whole coming to LA thing, which was really the theme of, or not the theme, but one of the main points of this, was, okay, yeah, you had his wife's influence, who obviously was in the business. I think she was a dancer, entertainer, something like that. So obviously that influenced him to come.
She was an actress, not a dancer, entertainer, or stripper, how you may have alluded to the fact.
Is that what you're getting at? She was definitely an actress.
No.
I mean, entertainer.
Your guys' heads are in the gutter right now.
I'm just saying,
okay?
those were your words.
Whatever. Okay, so she was an actress.
She was an actress.
Why would you call her a dancer? Where did that come from?
Dancer, entertainer. What does that ring? Does that ring acting or does that ring
Are you
stripping?
mixing her up with someone? Were you thinking she was someone and you were loosely trying
You know what
to
I was
say
thinking?
Thinking that she was Jane Fonda?
I was thinking I'm getting back to my initial point.
Okay, yeah.
Which was, she was an actress, obviously L.A., Hollywood, home. And you've seen this actually. I was thinking about when I saw that whole parallel, or that whole situation going on, it made me think of Carmelo a few years ago with his wife, who's obviously in media. She does a lot more hosting
Lala.
and stuff like that, Lala. And she wanted to be in a big market to pursue that. And when he was in Denver, there's only so much acting, hosting you can do in Denver, Colorado.
Sure.
So that was a huge reason to why he moved to New York and played with the Knicks, which was probably one of the worst decisions he's ever made. But
They are terrible.
Yeah, exactly. But you had saw, and a lot of people were saying that she had a huge influence on that because that's what she wanted to do. So I was thinking about that when I was watching Gretzky and his wife. And obviously, I'm not saying his wife is the only reason he moved to LA, but I'm sure that did play a part in why he...
Well, they addressed that, though, in the show, that a lot of people did say that and almost blamed her for that. But as soon as she got to LA, she was pregnant and she wasn't working anyway.
Yeah,
so
she was barefoot with 5 kids, I think she said.
but it's... I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a cop-out. I feel like
Yeah.
people like that are smart enough to know they're going to go where the money is. It's not about... They're not going to risk jeopardizing Wayne Gretzky's career so that she can maybe follow an acting career. Or Carmelo Anthony's not... they're not as established, and I feel like it trumps... If he would have got offered, $20 million to go to Texas, he would have went there. Or Florida, or Tampa Bay, or wherever. I don't think that...
So you say ultimately he would follow the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just so happened that it worked out that the money was where it all made sense. It was like they hit the jackpot.
Yeah. I also thought that the statistics they show at the end of it are pretty interesting about the number of hockey players that grew up in LA and then the expansion from 20 to 30 teams and how 3 of those teams are Los Angeles teams. All that stuff is really fascinating. I mean, if you even think about things from the 90s, from the mid 90s when I was growing up, like all like the Mighty Ducks series, for instance, is a great example of something that's like very targeted towards kids that inevitably grew up watching Wayne Gretzky and knew about hockey in America largely because of that. I think, like hockey being like a kid's hockey team, the Mighty Ducks, as opposed to a kid's basketball team. Yeah. Which, I mean, that same stuff was going on with basketball. Obviously, you had movies like Space Jam that were very successful, but it is really fascinating, the trade, the effect that it had on Western culture and our appreciation for hockey and where we're at now. Hockey's bigger now in the U.S. than it's ever been. And you have to wonder how much of that comes from that trade. How much of that comes from...
Well, and it's funny, too, because this is something that it brought up for me. We continue to say hockey's big in the U.S., but we're talking about a team that was in Canada. So it's interesting how hockey and baseball are the only disciplines, they're only sports that have Canada involved, right? There's no football Canada team.
No.
Yeah, not yet.
You don't.
Yeah.
You obviously have the CFL, but you don't have them playing.
So it's interesting how it plays so much out in the U.S., but it's actually like, and this guy Peter had a lot to do with getting the first team to Canada. Yeah. So that was interesting. That was something that I learned that was actually very interesting. Yeah. And I wonder why there's no football team. I mean, there's a hockey team. There's the Blue Jays. There's the Oilers.
But that's because Canada has
a
whole nother league for football. So why would they take an...
I'm sure they have other hockey leagues too, but nothing compares to the NHL.
Oh, no, basketball. Basketball has the Raptors.
Yeah, they have the Raptors,
the Raptors too. So why not football?
Yeah. And they had the Grizzlies.
Yeah,
Vancouver.
Football's been trying to expand in other countries. I mean, football, they're doing like
they do Europe, the
4 games
NFL
a year in
Europe,
London, and I would not be surprised if there's
that doesn't make any sense
in Vancouver, if there's an NFL team at some point. I mean, that business is just an unstoppable freight train.
Right. It's just interesting how it happened to the other ones first. first.
Yeah, but no, getting back to what you were saying, I do think it was just it was a jackpot. It was a bunch of series of great, everything kind of worked out for them to come out to LA, and it did popularize the sport, not just in the U.S. but in the West Coast as well. Because I would still say that out of the 4 North American major sports, I would still put hockey as the number 4th one as far as popularity.
Yeah, but I think that in baseball are the gap is closing slowly but surely, because hockey seems to get more popular every year, and the average age of a baseball fan is over 50. So that's not going so well. Though I do think the baseball conversation is pretty interesting because, that's a whole other conversation. We are out of time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So what on a scale of 1 to 10, where at 10 being an unattainable perfect and 5 being a dead average, where would you guys put this? How'd you like this movie?
I give it 7.
Okay, so 2 over average, but not in the 8 class. Not the 8's where you get to really good. 7's pretty solid.
It was entertaining. It was solid. It was entertaining. There was facts at the end that the fact that this guy spent 90 days in jail or something. The guy that made the trade because of, his
90
money.
months in jail actually.
90 months. Was it 90 months?
Yeah,
he got a lot of time. Yeah. Yeah. But he was fraud of over what, 2 million or something?
$236 million. So that was interesting. So I do like it. I like the way that these are done. They look amazing. They keep you engaged.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't that it was bad. It was that the content, Soul Man and some of the other ones that we did, the content was a little bit more juicier for me.
Yeah.
I think Rand University is maybe my all-time favorite. I love that one so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, that was my thing as well. I love Rand University as well, but that's also because I was a huge Randy Moss fan.
Sure.
I followed him. So I was trying to, when I grade these, I try to be unbiased versus, if I'm a huge fan of them. For example, Gretzky, I'm not going to lie, I'm not the diehard hockey fan. I never had a Gretzky poster in my room out of all the athletes' posters, but I respect what he's done for the game. So with that being said, I would probably give it a 7.5. I mean, I think that I say 7.5 because it's above average.
The numbers are very important here.
7 is average, and I think it's above average, but it's not quite an 8.
7.25, 7.5.
You laugh. I'm all about the
7.25 is borderline
Totally
average. 7.5 is for example, the Jets are a 7, that's average. Probably.
I bet you $100
the Jets
that the
are more
Jets have
3,
a better season than the Niners this year. $100 right now. Take the bet.
And we're out of time. But anyways,
look at that. The pinky's up.
The Jets are below average.
Okay, we're off.
7.5.
We're off point. I go a little above you guys. I give this an 8.1. I give it just slightly over 8.
0.1? Ben, what the? Explain the 0.1.
Well, it's a little better than an 8.
But it's not an 8.2.
But it's not an 8.2.
Yeah.
What about an 8.15?
Look, you guys pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes film ratings, the percentage system?
Yeah.
The percentage system. Just 82%, 81%. I give it 81%. It's solid. It's very good.
You didn't ask for a percentage. You asked for a number.
Yeah, so that's why I said 8.1.
Okay.
I'm the lead host here,
Fair
Steph.
enough. I'm just saying. You gotta lead us down the right path.
Yeah.
And 8.1 is.
It's pretty solid. I enjoyed it a lot. I don't know. Steph Z, tell people where they can find you.
You guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter at IAMSTEFZ. I'd love to hear from you.
I'm Kevin John. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at HeyKevinJohn, or you can find me on Periscope under Ben Bateman whenever I'm alongside him.
That sounded weird.
It is weird, yeah. You guys can find me at Ben Bateman Media on Twitter, Instagram, and very occasionally Periscope, but not so much these days. Mostly Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for stepping in. We'll see you guys in a few weeks.
Oh yeah, what one are we gonna do in 2 weeks?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good one.
We should have figured that out.
Maybe you guys should tell us. Write in, give us a hashtag, whatever.
Any come to mind?
Let us know.
I mean, I like so many of them.
What about 30 Days in October? Or not 30 Days in October. What is
4
it
Days in
called?
October?
4 Days in October.
That's always been my favorite.
Let's do it. That's what it's going to be, so that you guys following along know what to watch. So that
Red
when you
Sox
watch
Nation!
us, you know what we're talking about. Go
4 Days in
Sox.
October. See you guys in a couple weeks.
Nice.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.